Hey, whoa, oh my God. Oh, we're back. Jeez, this is WrestleZone. I'm Dominic
Oh,
DeAngelo.
oh.
This is Robert DeFelice. He's honorary DeAngelo, and he's from WrestleZone, but he's also a mercenary. All he cares about is money. I'm kind of getting that way too. But hey,
Yeah, you are.
hey, this is the job, guys. Episode 1. We kicked my degenerate asshole real brother out of here, Marcus. I mean, I got a bone to pick with that guy. Listen. Stardom has gone to his head. He's on the Jake the Snake podcast. He's just completely abandoned. Robert, I don't know if you know this, man, but we were one episode removed from the 100th episode of Two Dynamite Dudes. That was it.
Did you not do the 100?
And we just got to 99, man. That was it. Letting everybody down.
You know what? A whole lot of red balloons for the Two Dynamite Dudes. But we are here now. We are the job guys.
I thought it was an appropriate name. Kind of some forgotten souls a little bit in a lot of real ways. Does a mercenary have friends, Robert? Like, how does this work?
A mercenary's only friend is the person who's going to pay him next.
Wow. That's pretty perfect.
Listen, I love what I do. I do work for a lot of places. If you don't know me, I write for Fightful, of course, WrestleZone. I'm WrestleZone first and foremost because they gave me my break, but I also currently write for Inside the Ropes. I do some podcast stuff for Smart Out Moment. You might hear me on Fanboys Anonymous.
My God, Robert.
I am a very busy person, but I am clearly a jobber because I couldn't even get this green screen here to function properly. So, that probably won't be there for episode 2. We'll see.
You see these pink lights behind me? They're probably not going to be around forever because some Hall of Famer, let's say, WWE Hall of Famer, gave me some shit for those in the background. And now I'm a little self-conscious. And with these headphones as well. So,
you know what, Dom, those headphones are great.
Thanks.
You see me? I'm not only a job guy, I'm a guy who reaches too far because this is expensive. These are expensive. This mixer is expensive. I'm sure most people talking to a Blue Yeti, like a $50 microphone.
I got a Blue Yeti right here.
And you sound probably better than me. You know why? Because I'm not only a job guy, I'm a try guy, and I try a little too hard sometimes.
Listen. Things will come eventually. It's gotta be organic. I used to work at Whole Foods, working in the produce section. There was organic, there was conventional. You just gotta be organic, man. That's it. It'll all come. It's hopefully we'll find out.
Now, working at Whole Foods, is that where you got your pension for high prices? You gotta.
Of course, yes.
Why some high?
I will say I was raised by a man that was frivolous. So I can be kind of frivolous. Oh, I know you can too, Robert.
Yes, I can be very frivolous. Frugal is not my middle name. Like I look at Mick Foley's approach to life and I say, that's silly. He's got so much more money than me and he does nothing with it. I have so little money. Let's just spend
I do so much with it.
Let's just spend it all.
I do too much with it.
Not going to get buried with it or anything. But speaking of burials, at some point in this podcast, we're going to be burying lots of things. I hear are we rating dicks?
We are rating dicks. In light of Mandy Rose being released from her WWE her WWE contract right after dropping the NXT title. Apparently, she had, what's the name of the fan thing she's on? Fan Time?
Fan Time, yes.
Fan Time. The Fan Time, she rated some dicks on there. So we're gonna do a little bit of that,
Dom, I don't have my tape measure or anything with me.
Listen, you don't need it. We're gonna do it the Melter style with stars. We could do eggplants if you want, just to kind of like lean into it a little bit. Ooh, darkness shrouded over Robert.
Right? Yeah, I know.
But yes,
ominous sign of things to come.
Right, ominous, very ominous. But yeah, what I wanted to start off with, we talked about this yesterday in the WrestleZone chat. Was the fucking video that got posted on WWE was the debate. I understand the debate. Growing up right in the thick of that thing, I understand it. Like, I do get it. What game was better, WCW, NWO Revenge, and then WWF No Mercy? Robert, you're a little bit younger than I, but I know you played these games. How do you feel about this kind of being the rivalry almost in the way for N64, for wrestling games in general? These are like kind of like two of the peak wrestling games, with the exception of maybe SmackDown Here Comes the Pain and some other ones too. But
like, yeah, that's right where I want to go. People are saying this is the rivalry, Revenge, No Mercy. First of all, Revenge is the older brother of No Mercy. They're kind of the same take. No Mercy is the finished product. Yes, it's WWF versus WCW, but it's an unfair comparison because it's the same game engine. No Mercy's got 2 years of experience building and a lot of, changes made. They at least have real theme songs. Revenge didn't have that. So if this is your sticking point for just WWF versus WCW, I don't even think you're rating the right eras because there's some crossover. Jericho's in both games because there's some crossover. Big Show would have been in both games, but he was currently they were punishing him for not losing enough weight, so he was not in No Mercy.
He was not No Mercy. He was in WrestleMania 2000.
He was in WrestleMania 2000. He would have been, fun fact, the only person to make it into all 4 games: World Tour, Revenge, 2000, and No Mercy. But they did cut him from No Mercy because of the punishment. They replaced him with Andre. Fantastic choice. But that being said, we're talking about what game do I prefer?
Yes, Robert. What is it?
It is tough because, like, objectively, you want to say No Mercy, but Revenge is also like the only great WCW game. So if WCW is your bag, like if that's your thing, it has to be Revenge. I, however, have strong memories of playing both games, but because No Mercy is the one that always comes back up and back around, I think I have to objectively say it's WWF No Mercy. But Revenge is unbelievably great.
Look, and I get that. I totally get that because, like, what WCW, NWO Revenge laid the groundwork on, No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000 to extent like expanded on what they did. Because, I mean, the flaws with Revenge, you didn't have music. You had music, but it wasn't their entrance music. You didn't have create a wrestler, and you did not have. There's something else you didn't have. Oh, like you couldn't defend titles just willy nilly, and they didn't have like a very expansive career mode in comparison to what No Mercy did. Like No Mercy almost had a choose your own adventure sometimes in a way style to it. Well, the WCW just straight through. You fought these guys. They were always the same guys in the tag division, in the United States title division, and no secret characters either. Here's my thing, though.
No, Revenge had the secret characters because you had the only.
Oh, that's right. Because didn't you unlock Piper?
Mm-hmm.
You unlocked. Who else did you unlock in that game?
Piper, Perfect, was the U.S. champion.
Perfect, correct.
Canyon is the TV champion. You also get Mortis as a alternative character.
If you had a Game Shark, you could get Wrath.
You get a Game Shark, you can get Wrath. You could also get a really, really bad Ultimate Warrior, which is mostly just like like Finley in face paint. It's weird because the only things missing from Revenge are Warrior and Flair. The fact that Flair isn't in Revenge seriously docks at some points.
It is quite the omission, to say the least.
It is, for a WCW game, I think it's almost egregious to call it that without the guy who is Mr. WCW. But you did have some fun unlockables. I think Kidman was a Cruiserweight champion.
Yes,
and
you're right.
Ming and Barbarian were the tag champions.
Man, Robert, you're on the ball more than I am about that.
And that's all from my brain because I love these games more than I really should. These games grew in my life, and I think obviously I was young enough to the point where I grew up and got a little bit more advanced games, but I think that these are still the staples. And the fun thing about that is going into AEW Fight Forever, they literally ripped this core gameplay.
Right.
And so like that's how iconic this gameplay style is. We're talking 25 years later almost. We
talked about it in the chat how like I kind of don't give a fuck about graphics anymore. Like graphics are nice. Like, and you sure at this point in time you have a certain level of standards that you want graphics to meet. But at the point like where it's just like if it's gameplay and it's fun, and hell, if they have an awesome like creative mode and certain stuff, shit like that, and the style plays like those games of old, I'm all in, man. You don't need to appease me anymore. Now, kids today, they might have a little bit more higher expectations. So maybe there comes that. But if it's fun and it's accessible, a lot of these games, like that's what happened with WWE. They got off the track and they got too simulated, too labor intensive. And I mean, that goes across the board for a lot of these games, whether they're Call of Duty, whether it's Madden, whether you name it. But wrestling also fell into that. And so if Fight Forever can harken back to the days of old where it's simple, fun, yet challenging, competitive, then I mean, that's what you want out of it.
That's all you really want from a wrestling game. And I am so impatient. I want a release date like yesterday for
Yeah,
Fight Forever.
What's going on here? We need something happening.
Honestly, you mentioned the kids today. The kids today, the bar for them should be on the ground because these games have been just not fun to play. And I don't even think that they understand the value of a good pick up and play wrestling video game.
And they're half-assed. Like what you produce, like the sports games nowadays, it's just like a roster update every week, every year. That's all it is. They don't expand on it, nothing like that. It's just like you get the paper cut things. They don't tweak certain things. It's lazy stuff, but they make money off of it. And I was astounded. Like my nephews, they played like Fortnite, and I was very unfamiliar with that. But when I did play it with them, they're like, "Oh, look at all the dances you can get and the certain things you can get." And I'm like,
"Fucking pay! It's all right. You gotta pay for them."
Yeah, you gotta. Not only do you gotta pay for it, but what does it do? Like, you dance. That's not gonna help you kill anybody. You know.
I don't mind adding Fortnite dances. I don't play Fortnite. I'll say that off the top.
It's fun. I will say it's fun.
I play a game called. I think you'll really like a game called Rumbleverse. So it's essentially Fortnite style battle royale, but you throw in wrestling moves. It's a fantastic game from Epic Games, but I don't like the insistence on microtransactions. And I think give me a good old school unlockable. Don't make me spend my money. I paid $120 for WWE 2K22. I think
oh my god, you got the NWO one or whatever too?
Yeah, because I want the full game. Like I don't want a half game with you can only get this guy and this guy. I don't want the full game. So I gotta pay 120, like back to what we were just saying about being frivolous with our money. I do that sometimes. But I miss Revenge. I miss No Mercy. I do have to admit, I think from a roster perspective, I don't think you get any better than Revenge. So, like if we were gonna rank them, category by category, I think roster, I gotta give it to Revenge. Brett, Anvil, Bulldog, Piper,
Goldberg. You had fucking
Page,
Hogan, Savage, Luger, Sting, Hall, Nash,
Malenko, Jericho,
Eddie,
Hoovy, Psychosis. Then you got AKI Man, a THQ Man.
Got Larry Zbyszko in there.
Yeah, you do have Larry Zbyszko in there.
Yuji Nagata,
Ultimo Dragon. That's a who's who of wrestling.
The cruiserweights. That's like the big seller for that. I think is the cruiserweights is so cool. I used to do the Fatal 4-Way matches where you change the rules and make it elimination style, and I do all cruiserweights in it. So it'd be like 4-1, and you just have all a cruiserweight match. It was great. You couldn't top it.
I remember I have an older brother, and the idea of finding different ways to the diamond cutter, because I don't even know if you know this. You can
There's 3 ways.
From the corner, throw him the ropes to do the flapjack, and then you do the just standing diamond cutter.
Yep.
And like that stuff is so much fun. Like that kind of finding hints is fun. I miss that. I miss gaming being fun. I know I'm an old man.
Now, do you think it's changed because we've gotten older and that we don't see we've kind of lost that what was it, nostalgia, or almost like I don't know, like that's what I keep thinking is like maybe I'm just older and things don't feel as special to me anymore.
There is a definite my era is forever better than your era kind of thing, but I think it's that there's such a soulless monetary component to everything now.
I think that's fair.
Everything is so we're not going to take advantage of DLC and make it so that this person changed their move, so we're going to add it in. We're going to legit we can have these guys in the beginning. We're going to draw it out because money. Yes. And I think that makes it inherently just not fun.
Yeah. Like, because I mean, at this point, like, I could buy something if I wanted, but like, if I'm a kid, you just got to go and ask your parents and see if you can get it. A lot of times, if you're
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you play by the rules, the playbook of being a child growing up.
and I think that that's fair too. And then you're really trying to decide what you're spending your money on. I would hate to have to be a kid today. I mentioned I have nieces, and I've purchased in-game currency for them to just get whatever they want in games. And at a certain point, you're like, kiddo, I've just spent like $70 for you for in-game currency. I could have got you something physical. I could get you something real for that.
Now, Robert,
And
you have to confirm with me here. Rumor and innuendo has shown that you potentially stole a PlayStation 5 from a younger relative of yours. Is that fact?
I might have. As it turns out, I was on the phone with my brother. Maybe you get this too. We had that brother synergy where we both tried to call each other at the same time.
Mhm.
And, it was a good laugh. And then suddenly he goes, I'm at Walmart and there's PS5 here. And I said, in my way of being frivolous and not really thinking about money, get it. And I'll just give you the money. Get it because it's there, and I'm never gonna get a PlayStation 5. So what you did see was a picture of one of my nieces with the PlayStation,
Mhm.
and I may or may not have had to go over there and take it from them and run away. And you never know.
Okay, so
But
he did buy it for you.
Yes.
Okay.
At least that's what I've been told. I don't know. Maybe
Your niece now, she was not under the impression that it was for her.
No. They did know. They did know it was coming to their uncle, but their uncle is also very good to them. And if they wanted a PlayStation, he'd probably again frivolously spend the money to give them a PlayStation. Because the Beatles said "Can't Buy Me Love," and I'm here to tell you that that's bullshit.
That is a bunch of bullshit.
That is. You can absolutely buy someone's.
You go outside of the proper Vegas area, you can buy some love.
Well, that might lead us into our rating dicks discussion.
Real quick though, I do gotta say I grew up so like okay, I started with WCW NWO World Tour, and would play that like crazy. I would play the Sting and the Police, ironically enough, their greatest hits while I played that game, so it held a special place in my heart. So when Revenge came out, and I was in the thick of watching Nitro, and then I think it came out I think it was maybe late October of that year, maybe, and then I had to wait until Christmas to get it, and when I got it, it was just like everybody's there that you loved, that you watched on television, and then like the whole atmosphere of Nitro, big Scott Hallmark, so he was in it obviously, like. Marcus and I, for Degenerate brother who has left us for better things, we and him played it for 8 hours straight on Christmas. So like, boom, all that stuff. And I was a WCW kid, so that really held me in, being like, okay, Revenge, you cannot top Revenge. And so, to your point though, No Mercy expanded on all that with the Creator Wrestler. The simplicity of the Creator Wrestler too is great, I think, in those games because, listen, you had a bunch of faces to choose from. But you had a face, okay? You could not morph the face. You could not raise its cheekbones, fatten its lips. You could not change its eye color. You had a face. And then you had hair to work with. So, like, you had the creative options there, but you had to pick and choose. And so you could not necessarily create everybody that you wanted in that game. So you could make a good Terry Funk. You could make a good, Dusty Rhodes if you wanted. But certainly, you could not make a fantastic RVD. You could not. His singlet was not there. So, but you could edit the wrestlers. So that whole thing. I think the challenge of accepting that as a kid, being like, "Damn it, I want a game that has a good RVD in there," and the optimism that came with it kind of made those games a lot more fun. I have to say, I am a Revenge proponent. That's my game.
I do get it. So for me, the first one, World Tour, we got on Christmas, and that I remember playing a lot of that as a kid. Revenge and every other game we got day of, not a few days, if not maybe a day or two early, because New York, you know how it works.
Hey, we got a guest. Hi, what's up, Sage?
Woo! Hi, Sage.
All right, our first guest.
All right, thank you, Sage.
Welcome. You made history.
You have made history. And so the thing is, we got every game day of. I remember getting No Mercy being stoked for a ladder match because, like you, I'm a Scott Hall mark, I'm a Shawn Michaels mark. I've only ever wanted to do ladder matches. Still only ever want to do ladder matches when I play these games. I think I have to go with, for the sheer legacy of it, I have to say No Mercy. But I absolutely get the fondness of Revenge because WCW, for the legacy it has, really only has like 3 years that people care about. And it's that 95 to 98 range. And that's all really anybody cares about. And Revenge gets it perfect.
Mhm.
So I think both of those games are iconic. I said this in our group chat. This ain't the conversation to have. If you want to compare WCW, WWF, you got to compare the bad games. Compare like Nitro to Warzone. That's more of a fair like comparison because Revenge and No Mercy, it's like 1A and 1B. Honestly,
Look,
they're just
and
classic.
like I tell you what, like some of those games were bad. They were bad, but I liked some aspects of them. Like with Nitro, you would go to the pick a character screen and like they'd have a little video of that person. And like I could almost recite like some of those at this point.
I can probably recite a few of them myself because yeah, I did the same thing. That was just part of the game because the gameplay itself wasn't great.
Yes.
There was that, and they had like a disco level, and you could do the YMCA dance, and that was
you could YMCA dance. You could fight like a bear, I think, and Santa Claus was there.
That's amazing.
Potentially Abe Lincoln, I think. I want to say he was in that game. You had a lot of ridiculous secret characters in that game. And then Harlem Heat, I mean, I think it was Booker T. He's like, don't be a sucker, push the button. No, this is it's me, Harlem Heat from 110th Street. It's something like that. He goes off on one of the best moments in video game history, I think, is Booker T recite of his promo on the WCW Nitro game.
I think we're just talking great moments in wrestling game history. It's Kevin Nash.
Yes.
Literally just
pick me.
Joking. Pick me.
Pick
Come
me.
on.
Come on. Pick me.
I'm begging you. Please. And then to his credit, he follows it up in the next game a year later, just fucking, don't pick me. Go pick someone else. You're not worthy of picking me. Kevin Nash, to this day, I don't think there's anybody cooler than Kevin Nash.
Nash is the best, man. He's the best. Can't top Kev. Which, by the way, hey, new shirt out on Click This Podcast. It's Kevin Nash's Detroit style pizza, just like Little Caesars. I made it. I designed the t-shirt. You can get it in black and white or white. Go to boxofgimmicks.com and get that shirt. It's gonna be awesome. I wish I
wait, Dominic, you just gotta brag. See, like I work with a lot of the famous media people. Like, yeah, Sean Ross Sapp is great, but you're over here designing shirts for Kevin Nash and living my dreams. So I guess that is what it is.
It's good times, but I'm telling you, that shirt's sweet. I want to get one myself. So I did not make this Arn Anderson shirt. I will say that. The Enforcer did not make that one.
That's a great. Glock Anderson was one of the greatest gifts that we never thought we would get. And Arn is also the man.
Arn is he's a gem here in this wrestling world. Any final thoughts on video games in general, wrestling video games?
Oh, we're gonna talk about wrestling video games. As long as I'm on a podcast, wrestling video game discussion will be a part of it. But I will say again, No Mercy and Revenge 1A and 1B for that style of game. As we go, I'm sure I'll talk about Here Comes the Pain and some of the more recent games that I think were great and where I thought they went really, really wrong. But these two games, you can't go wrong. Buy them today, play them today. They still hold up.
They still hold up. Robert, what are you drinking? Sage wants to know.
What am I drinking? It's usually a Pepsi, but I think Sage wanted to know what you were drinking because you're the one drinking on screen.
I am drinking Gatorade. I had COVID several weeks ago and could not leave the house. And so my girlfriend dropped me off some Gatorade. So I am finishing some Gatorade right now.
Now this guy's just bragging about having a girlfriend. You know, Dom, for the job guys
here. Being forthright. Robert, I am a wrestling media person. I want to be forthright with them.
Oh, is that what we do?
That's right. It is not what we do. I want to buck back at the convention. I don't want to. I don't want to leave that stereotype with us that we're a bunch of dirt sheet losers that make up shit. And it's very true, though. I mean, some of it is true. Well, listen, Robert, is it not true? The wrestling media world is full of degenerates. It is.
It is. It's absolutely full.
Bunch of lowlifes.
And as is the wrestling world itself.
Right.
We get a lot
the
of
world in general is full of degenerates.
This world is awful. You don't want to live in this world. Like,
I bet when God made this thing, he would probably hung out for I would go maybe the first 1,700 years, and then he's just like, all right,
I think we've gone.
Maybe I'll keep some eyes on it, but we'll see.
We've gone severely wrong. Do you think he's still keeping eyes on it? Because I look at the world and I'm not so sure. Not so sure, Dom. But yeah, we got degenerates left and right.
Yeah, but specifically, we're talking about wrestling journalism. I mean, golly, you have to put. It's like you have to put quotations on it first. You have to earn the quotations off. Yes, you have to somehow earn the goal here for us is to take those quotations off. But I completely understand the sentiment that, hey, I can't trust these people. You can't. I agree. You can't trust us. I want to say you can trust me, but seriously, you have to look at our work and then make that decision.
You can trust me. You can trust me.
You just said you're all about the money, though, Robert. So I mean,
that's exactly why you can trust me.
That's exactly why. All right, let's go to this, Robert. I was trying to think of a framework for this show, so I just wanted to start off basic. So what we're doing here, I want to get your top 3 news stories of the week. Doesn't necessarily have to be the top 3, like the bona fide. What should be the news stories, wrestling news stories of the week? But I want your top 3. You know what I mean?
So my top 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've got to talk about Mandy Rose.
Correct.
Because that was like the big story of the week.
I mean, we're rating dicks on here coming up. So.
I know. Mandy, what an influence that Mandy. Mm-hmm. I would say Vince McMahon potentially saying, I've received some bad advice. I'd like to come back. That's a major wrestling story this week. And then from an in-ring standpoint, I think we got to talk about Action Andretti.
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it, Robert. I mean, because if I'm floating away out of all this, that's probably the ones I'm gonna do too. Or those my 3. So I mean, I'll pop my ticker here up real quick. Mandy Rose, Vince McMahon, and Action Andretti. Listen, who gave Vince McMahon this advice, and how did he end up heeding that advice? Because you would think Vince is gonna do what he wants to do ultimately, but it felt like the pressure was on, right? In July, and now, I mean, more reports are coming out. So, and what at this point, these stars are aligning where you have the Wall Street Journal reports coming out saying that there's more allegations coming through. And now you have the report that, hey, I was giving bad advice. I want to kind of come back. So,
yeah.
Who is Vince listening to here?
First and foremost, I think it's not as sad as it is to say, it's not shocking to me that Vince has more allegations. It seems like he really developed an issue apparently later in his life, because a lot of these stories that are coming out are like 06, 11. There's the one story, there's the Rita Chatterton, the former referee from the 80s. And she's also looking for a legal restitution, which good for her. If she feels like she can close that chapter properly now, good for her. My sad thing, and I don't know if anyone else is saying this, is that, geez, Vince McMahon really couldn't find something else to do. I'm sad to hear that he's like, yeah, I think I want to come back. It's like, you got that Alpha Entertainment. I was really hoping you would do something else. Do anything else.
What would he do, though? His life has been wrestling. That's all it's been.
But he hates wrestling. He wants to be entertainment. This is your chance. Go make movies, pal.
Yeah, but he knew it was wrestling. He knew in his core, in his self, that he was wrestling. It was
I
like
think it's that January is coming and that he doesn't feel comfortable doing WrestleMania season, not being
not being
active.
there. It's like the Squidward meme. He's looking out the blinds, and there's Triple
Right.
H and you know Stephanie
Stephanie and Nick. You
and
know, just
Nick's there too. Nick's what's the snail's name in that?
Nick is Gary. Yes, he's
Gary.
absolutely
Yes,
totally
Nick's
Gary.
Gary. Okay.
You know, I really think that we'll never know who gave him the advice. You know, I'd like to see him stay away. I know Fightful reported Sean Ross Sapp does great. He does his due diligence. That people aren't really down with the idea of Vince coming back. The morale is high. It'd be super weird now because it's so open that the morale is high. You can't just go, and I'm back, and we're gonna be one big happy family.
Come on, guys, let's get to
and
it.
It's like, nah, people. I think people are ready for a change. Whether you love or hate the product, what it is right now, I think people are ready for an absolute change. And I don't know if it's gonna work out with him potentially coming back. And he's also still has legal issues to deal with.
Right. And like Vince is an alpha male, right? So, and like he's cut from the same, in a lot of roundabout ways, he's cut from the same cloth as a Trump is, where it's like, and they have their relationship, stuff like that. But like, if you get, and I think, just from the outside looking in, you hear from many people how Vince has a good heart, like in a lot of certain ways.
We talked about Kevin Nash. I thought Kevin Nash told a really nice story that when unfortunately Tristan passed away, Vince was right there. It said, "This money number, I'm here if you need me." So like when you hear that story and that guy, and then you hear about the megalomaniacal, crazy rich person
aspects that,
like,
it's like, yeah, you cannot defend any of that stuff that he's done, and you can't. But like, it's just, life is a great thing, and it's not, stuff's not hot and dry. Like it's that's the thing, is like, you want to put somebody in this thing, like, okay, and like, hey, if those allegations come out, they're bad. You don't want, like,
yeah, okay, no, they're awful.
That's not good at all. That's awful. So it's just like, but it's just like, not everything's going to be painted perfectly for you. Like, for somebody that wants to make a judgment on somebody, it's just not the way life is, unfortunately. Now you have your psychopaths that are fucking, sociopaths that are Christian Bale in American Psycho or whatever,
It's a fantastic movie, but
listen, I've never seen that movie. I saw the clip and I was like, I did not know this was a kind of a funny movie. It's a kind of funny movie, right?
What clip did you see? The Paul Allen
him dancing to Huey Lewis in the news?
Oh my god, that's my favorite scene in all of cinema. It's the most hysterical thing I've ever seen, and I don't know what that says.
But like, I was talking to my buddy Jeff about because it was a book originally, and he was like, the book is pretty funny. It's like dark, but it's funny, and so I was like, oh, okay. But like, I was always adverse to not seeing that movie because I was just like, geez, a psychopath just murdering people. This is like, that flies. That just messes with my head too much. But then when I see like Christian Bale is like dancing, he's like, oh yeah, it's hip to be square. And then he just fucking takes an axe to Jared Leto. And then after the Zack Snyder stuff, I'm kind of like, I can kind of see why.
I do agree with that. Back to McMahon, I do look, and that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a lot of scatterbrain on this podcast, I'm sure. But yeah, Vince, I think that you never count him out. There's always a chance that he comes back. I just don't think that it would ever be the same. He has that relationship with Kevin Nash. He has that relationship with William Regal. William Regal said great things about him. Said, the boss let me out of my contract early so I can go work for AEW. Foley, who is the closest thing to a saint walking this land as you can possibly get, says good things about Vince McMahon. Okay. I don't know if this new generation can vibe with Vince McMahon in that way. And that's why I think overall, regardless of what happens to the allegations, he's better away because his time has come and gone. People who meet him now are more likely to meet him as the megalomaniacal negative side than they ever will be the sweet side that some of his closest confidants have referred to him as being.
I've gotten to know. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, people have like, you've been around a guy that's long. Like if he's a character and he's been like around for this long, there has to be some aspects of his personality that are likable. And then, if he's got a dark side, then he's got a dark side. And hopefully, like, across the board, like for everybody's sake, I hope they're not true, but who knows?
What are you really gonna, yeah.
What are you gonna do? It's crazy. Wrestling's a crazy business. It's just crazy, guys.
It is.
Are you not aware of this yet, everyone? Mandy Rose. So where do you kind of fall out on this? I saw the hashtag justice for Mandy Rose. I've seen people be like, hey, look at what other people have done in the Attitude Era compared to what Mandy's doing now.
Here's where I fall with Mandy Rose. I think, first of all, women's body, women's choice, period, point blank. That goes without saying. I think if they gave her the opportunity, hey, tone this down a little bit, it's a bit much, and she didn't want to do that and elected to leave, or elected to, no, this venture is very successful for me, then that is one way to look at it. If they didn't give her the opportunity, if they did blindside her and say, well, this is out there now, so we're just going to fire you, I don't agree with that. I think that that's wrong. And on the extreme case, if it really is, well, we want a cut of this, I think that that's really wrong on WWE's behalf. I don't think that is the case. I think it is a matter of the content, because there's risque content, and then there's what she was doing is
I would say a little more than risque.
A little more than risque, yeah.
Just a touch more than risque, especially if you're working for a publicly traded company.
But like at the end of the day, again, as long as it's consenting adults, I'm totally down with anyone who wants to make money like that. I also don't like the leakers. I think the leakers are, just don't do that. Just trust in, it's a client worker issue. And it's like, there's a trust there. Don't break it. Don't be a jerk. Don't be an asshole. Like, so that, like, the way I fall in it kind of is, in my roundabout answer, yeah, it's not black and white. And I think that as much as we would all love justice for Mandy, who was doing the best work of her career, regardless of what you think of her bell to bell, I think that there were other factors at play here. I do not think this is the end of her in WWE.
Oh, you think she's gonna be back?
I think she'll be back.
Okay, that's interesting. I could kind of be like, hey, you gotta leave. Try to tone this stuff down, but like, it doesn't seem like she's toning this stuff down.
No.
So
I mean, based on what I've heard, like, it does not seem like she's toning this stuff down.
Doesn't sound like she is. I'm on the line of, yes, you're an adult woman. You do what you want. Like, there's no reason. You can do whatever you want. But you're working for a publicly traded company. Have WWE associated with your name, your look, who you are. You're working for them. Granted, now it's an independent contractor. You can get on all the gray area, whatever. But nonetheless, you're a WWE employee for them. So if you choose to do this stuff, well, the company can choose to do what they want to. And you're still making money, it's good. But
here's what I'll say.
I get it from that standpoint. It's just like, if you're pushing the limits, it's one thing if maybe you're doing bikinis or something like that, but you're going off into other realms here,
into a pretty steamy realm.
Very.
And I think what I'll say is, it'd be easier to say the company had to do what the company had to do if the company didn't have a history of kind of taking advantage of its workers and things of that nature. And it's also, I've heard some people say, and I'm clearly, you'd be surprised, but I'm not the expert on who's to say women's issues, but the company may have a women's issue kind of thing when this stuff comes up. I don't know. It's very hard to say. It's unfortunate because it's super public now. I still think it's wrong that her content's getting leaked.
You
But
gotta
she's
expect
gonna
that though in
she's
today's day and
yeah.
age. I think it
Yeah,
just
I
like,
mean,
if you're a
people leak
celebrity,
strangers on the street just to do it because
right?
it's fun for them.
But if you're a celebrity, I mean, the eyeball is going to be much more on you than anything else. Whether they're paying behind a paywall or not. Like it's something. It's just got like that stuff is going to come with the territory when you do stuff like that.
Right.
I'm glad she's making money. Heck, and like I don't think so. I'm on the side of like somebody else is going to sign her, and whether that's AEW or Impact or another. She'll make a living doing the indies, like pull Matt Cardona or something like that. But I think and heck, she could kind of lean into this stuff if she wanted to with those other companies. Be like, yeah, heck, and like kind of be like, look at what I am doing, and then kind of embrace that in her persona in a lot of ways. But I do not. I don't know. It's just like, hey, you weigh out your options. Maybe she was like, this is a more lucrative business than what I'm doing, even as the NXT Women's Champion, and what my career could potentially be. But I kind of relate it to football, where it's like, hey, I could sign with the Patriots and win a Super Bowl with the Patriots, or I could sign a huge ass contract with the Houston Texans and lose, but still get paid a crap ton of money. But then my legacy will no longer be as big as it will if I sign.
Right.
If I became a Super
It's
Bowl winner.
like to relate it to wrestling. It's like, yeah, is it Kid and Scott Hall that called Brett the $500,000 champion because he didn't care about how much money he made. He just wanted to be the champion. It's kind of that deal, like I think at the end of the day, especially, we've talked about this already, as a mercenary, as someone who works multiple jobs and you do the same, money's probably going to win at
Money
the end of the
usually
day.
wins. It's cash and creative, and they definitely go hand in hand.
And in this case, I think she's controlling all the creative. So
she's got full creative control here. Yeah, the options are open. Hey, you know what? I think now, I mean, I think it's a pretty good time to rate some dicks, Robert. What do you think?
Again, as I said, I don't have any ruler or anything, but let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and rate some dicks.
Let me tell you, you don't need it right here, right now. Okay, let me make sure I have all of them. Okay, they're all fascinating, unique in their own way, all different sizes, from different eras, from different. Yeah. So I mean, Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
So okay, I guess do we want to lean into it and say I'll give it 5 eggplants, or do you want to do inches? We can even do inches. It's up to you. I mean, we could do stars like Meltzer.
Let's see. Let's look at the first one, and we'll use it as a gauge.
Okay, let's start off. Okay, one of my favorite dicks. How about Dick Van Dyke?
If we're rating it by inches, that's a foot long. If we're rating it by eggplants, it's all the ones in the world. It's a whole Parmesan. And if we're rating it by stars, he gets all the stars. I love Dick Van Dyke.
He's a great dick.
He's a fantastic dick.
The
oldest dick in the game.
97. He just turned 97 this week. So
he's a legend.
Legend.
He's still handsome, as bright as ever.
Right.
A very good looking.
Very good looking man. And he's almost the Terry Funk of entertainment. You think about it, Dick Van Dyke Show. Then he goes on to oh my God, Diagnosis Murder later on in his day. But then he was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, fucking Mary Poppins here. And like now he's still kicking. I don't know.
I mean, it's him. Ironically, it's him and Betty White. They are as iconic as it gets.
Right.
That is definitely the measuring stick of dicks. As long as I live, Dick Van Dyke will be the measuring stick. How about that?
You know what? Let's do let's keep it classy here and just do star ratings. So out of 5 stars, how many stars are you giving Dick Van Dyke?
5.
Yeah, 5. I agree. Can't. Okay, here's a good one. Robert. Dick Tracy.
So immediately, I think of the Simpsons sketch of Little Ned Flanders going, I'm Dick Tracy. Take that, prune face. I'm prune face. Take that, Dick Tracy. I'd say a good 4 out of 5. Iconic, not as great as Dick Van Dyke, but definitely iconic.
Did you see the Warren Beatty film, 1990?
I did.
A great movie.
Very
Al
good.
Pacino. Did you know Al Pacino was nominated for an Oscar for that movie?
I did not.
Best Supporting Role.
Al
Pacino of all, I want to say, I hope this was his first Academy Award nomination.
I would highly doubt it.
I think it was, Robert.
That's amazing. That goes to show you how great Dick Tracy is.
All right. I remember, so I saw that movie in theaters as a 5-year-old and been fascinated because as I was sitting in the theater, I thought they were acting this out right behind the screen. I thought it was all going on behind the screen, not on the screen.
That's amazing. So, I like the way that 5-year-old Dom thinks.
The 5-year-old Dom was a bit of an idiot. But yes, I'll give Dick Tracy probably a 4.5.
Yeah, classic.
Probably 4.5. All right, here's one to really think about here. Andy Dick.
I love Andy Dick. I look at the stupid humor of the 90s and 2000s is right up my alley. I gotta tell you, there's an Andy Dick show. There's an Angels Are Everywhere sketch.
He was on News Radio too, right? Wasn't he on News Radio? I think so.
I believe so. You gotta check out this Andy Dick show. Angels Are Everywhere. It's the stupidest thing, but it pops me. Andy Dick is a solid 4 out of 5 stars.
He was also in Old School. He was their sex coach. Remember? Did you see Old School?
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Okay, the women, they were doing like a party. Like I want to say it was a bachelorette party, but they were getting tips on how to give oral sex. And he can't. Ironically enough, he brought zucchinis, I believe, an eggplant, and showed the women how to do it properly. He was just a real freak.
As only Andy Dick can, I'm sure.
Right. I'm gonna give him. He's from an entertainment standpoint, I'd say he's okay. I'm gonna give him a 2.5. I think he's got some Me Too stuff against him, so kind of factor that in.
If you'd have told me that, I don't
want to. That's fine.
I'll drop him down. I mean, if he's got some Me Too stuff against him, then I'll give him a 2.
Okay,
I'll give him the 2 and Me Too.
Okay, there we go. All right, another good one. I don't know how familiar you are with this individual, Robert, but I had to throw him in here. Dick Cavett.
I'm not too familiar.
No,
but he's sitting across from the greatest. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that's at least a 3 out of 5.
Okay, I think that's fair, Robert. Just as a bland, just in their assessment, visual assessment, great sideburns with Muhammad Ali, excellent interviewer, had a lot of ties to the classic era of television. Dick Cavett, I'm with you. I'm gonna give him a 3.5. All right, last but certainly not least, we got Dick Blood, aka Ricky Steamboat.
Okay. I was thinking, maybe Dick Murdoch.
Forgot about Dick Murdoch. Dick Slater's another one.
Dick Slater.
Mm-hmm. Dick Enberg, do you know who he is?
Who's that?
Dick Enberg.
No, I don't.
Classic announcer. He's dead now, but really good.
I'm gonna go ahead and give old Dick Blood here, old Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That's a 5 out of 5.
I agree.
Maybe the greatest technical wrestler ever.
Where would you rank him among all-time baby faces?
Oh, among all-time baby faces, it's he's fighting for number 1. It's him and Morton. So
Morton. I'm trying to think if there's
because when you're talking about baby face,
you think of an ultimate baby face.
You're thinking Dusty, but even Dusty's been a heel.
Dusty's been a heel.
Hulk has been a heel.
Hulk has been a heel. Cena was even a heel.
But I would say Ricky Steamboat, the classic babyface, couldn't be a heel. Too much of a family man to be a heel.
That's right.
Nowadays,
though, I don't know. If you were a family man, I don't know. That could be.
That makes you the ultimate heel.
It makes you a real bad person.
Yeah, it makes you the ultimate heel.
Mm-hmm. Who wants a family nowadays? Disgusting. God. Yeah, 5 out of 5 though for
Ricky Steamboat is so good, and hopefully as we go here, we get to talk about some of just our favorite matches. And Steamboat's in quite a few of mine, and I really credit Ric Flair's early WWE DVDs with introducing me to Steamboat, and then you go down a rabbit hole of just finding out how good this guy really is.
Yes.
And he's the man.
Have you ever seen the Road to Greensboro?
Oh
You know what
yes,
that
yes,
is? That's
I do.
fantastic.
I
love.
actually I have that on a YouTube playlist. Great. It sets the scene for Starcade, which sets the scene maybe for Mania. He's also on the first Mania. Like,
Right.
you know, Steamboat got around and
Mm-hmm.
he really has had a great career, and I'm glad he got to finish it on his own terms.
Right. And what a tandem, him and Jay Youngblood. Great.
Yes.
Man. R.I.P. Jay Youngblood. And I would, okay, Robert, let me see. This is a wild one I'm throwing out here at you, but I want to ask you.
You're going to throw a wild dick at me, are you?
Throwing a wild wiener at you here. You're grow up, say you're a wrestler in the prime, all right? But in like the 70s, so in the territory days. But they don't exactly, what are you? Are you Italian?
I am Italian and Dominican. That is what I am.
Okay. So say they're not really, okay, we got an Italian guy already here, Robert, but we kind of want to label you as something else. What are you going to go with? They give you the option.
I'm probably going to be like some kind of Samoan, some kind of Hawaiian, you know.
Okay,
I
so you're going to,
okay. I got a little bit of color.
Okay.
You know, I think we're going to lean into the color, and we're going to say like, I can be a wild Samoan if I let the beard grow.
Okay.
You know, look really ridiculous. I can be a wild Samoan.
All right.
I can be Usi. You might not know this about me, but I can be Usi Goosey.
Usi.
All
okay.
right?
Let me think of a good name for you. Bobby. It's gonna be Bobby something.
Well, what's
Bobby Aloha? Is that too on the nose?
Bobby Aloha from the island of Oahu. Bobby
Aloha. There you go. Bobby Aloha.
You know, I spent a year in Hawaii, Dom. The people are beautiful. I tried to get like a commentary gig, but I wasn't even remotely doing stuff like this. I probably could have a better shot at it now. But I love Hawaii. I'd be honored to represent Hawaii. Bobby Aloha.
Fake though. You'd be a phony Hawaiian, but yes.
I was for a year. It was amazing.
Amazing. All right. Well, that I can understand that.
Now, Dom, what are you Italian, right? DeAngelo?
I'm Italian. Italian German.
All right. Say, you know, I'm looking at you. I'm in the Northeast Territory. We just lost Putski. We're making you Polish. What's your name?
I would take it. I would definitely take Polish for sure.
What's your name?
A big fan of the cult classic movie. And I know we already have one, but big fan of the cult classic movie Vanishing Point. The protagonist in that movie was simply named Kowalski. So can't be Killer, obviously. I would act though like I was related to him.
Deadly Dom Kowalski and Killer Walter.
I wouldn't do Dom. I would get rid of that. I would get rid of Dom because that's not very Polish.
What are we going with here?
Jeez, that's tough. Jimmy. I'm just going Jimmy Kowalski, and then be like, that's it. All right. You can do that.
Yeah. And Jimmy Kowalski, Bobby Aloha.
There we go.
We're gonna have to hook it up one of these days.
Might be a couple I think that's a good babyface tag team right there.
I think we could make it work.
We could make it work for sure.
Set the territory on fire, brother.
That's right. All right. Hey, listen, do you have your Spotify Wrapped ready by chance?
I do. I do have my Spotify Wrapped.
I gotta pull mine up here. Listen, the primary reason we're doing this is because of yours. I hope you realize that.
Oh, because of mine, right? Because yours isn't nearly as embarrassing.
Well, no, mine is embarrassing, yes. But I mean, yours. I mean, that's kind of themed in it's the point of the show almost in certain ways.
I think so. Mine is very honest in the sense that
Sage likes Bobby Aloha, by the way.
I bet she does. My top 5. Unfortunately, I'm not this big of a wrestling fan. I swear to God. I would just
sure, Robert. Okay, yeah,
all day. But my number 1 was WWE.
Just WWE.
It really was. Honestly, I was the number 1 artist. My number 5 was Jim Johnston. So it's sandwiched between two WWE things.
So far, you just said is a complete lie. Then because
I know I'm a nerd. Okay, like. But the other 3 are dead on. It's the Foo Fighters at number 2.
Okay.
Dance Gavin Dance at number 3, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers at number 4.
Now explain it. What is Dance Gavin Dance? I know I've heard of them before.
Dance Gavin Dance is like a metalcore screamo band. I've seen them in concert a bunch of times. I love them. They are my favorite like modern band. Foo Fighters are my favorite band of all time.
All
And
time.
I genuinely think that the Red Hot Chili Peppers are an all-time classic. They are on tour with the Strokes, and they're not coming to Florida, so I have to find a way to see them.
Go so bad. They can't the Philly, the Strokes. For those of you who don't know, Strokes are like my favorite band right behind Steely Dan. And they I have not seen them in concert. And
we're gonna have to go together. Dom, we're gonna have to go together. I'm obsessed with the Strokes. I've been obsessed with the Strokes for the last 3 weeks. I've been listening to nothing but You Only Live Once. And last night,
yes.
We're gonna have to do a concert. The Job guys do the Strokes. Yes. I don't know. We're talking about jobs and dicks and strokes, but it's
man.
We're gonna get a theme.
We got a fan time coming here.
Listen, I genuinely love the Strokes. They will probably be on my list next year. I'm gonna actively try to listen to less theme songs on Spotify.
I would recommend that just for even appearance purposes.
Yeah. I mean, yes. Like, cause the thing is, it said that W was my favorite artist, but then none of their songs come up in the countdown until like the 20 or 30 spot. So what is this? They're not my favorite. My favorite song this year was Beer by Real Big Fish.
Wow.
So,
wow. And then
I had a very big ska moment early in the year.
Fun. I like ska.
Is fun. And I'm fun. So I tend to like.
You're Bobby Aloha.
I am Bobby Aloha.
Fun with that name.
We're gonna have so much fun.
Right.
And I really did enjoy ska earlier this year. So there's that. There's the impression that I get by Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
I mean, that's classic.
Is on there. What are your top songs there, Dom?
So my top artist here, number 1, John Mayer.
Awesome, great. John Mayer is so good. He gets better as you get older.
What huge John Mayer kick off the year, and I had it for probably a solid 3 or 4 months. His new album came out, Sob Rock, and just like hit you kind of like that vintage classic 80s vibe to it all, but like really well written, well sung. Boom. Every song, I wouldn't say every song, majority of the songs on that album were very, very good.
What's your favorite song?
Oh God. I like Last Train Home was good. What's the other one though? There was another one that's really, hold on a second. I can tell you here. New Light. That's a great one. Wild Blue is good. That's very Mark Knopfler / Dire Straits vibe to it. So I like that one. So those are probably my top 3, and maybe I have another one in there too.
I would say Shot in the Dark was my favorite.
Shot in the Dark. That's a great
one. That was my favorite one from that album.
Very
huge fan of John Mayer. Man. Again, one of those artists that gets better as you get older.
Full disclosure too, so I bought tickets to go to him in Pittsburgh here, and I was set to go. He got COVID, and so he had to delay it. He delayed it, and then by the time May rolled around and he came back in May, I just did not feel like going at that point, so I didn't go to the concert, even though I had a ticket. I just didn't want to go downtown and deal with all the bullshit.
I get you. So who's number 2 for you?
Number 2. This was like a different year for me, for sure. Like Jim Croce, number 1, number 2. So Don't Mess Around with Jim. Obviously, his big hit was one of them. Bad Bad Leroy Brown, Operator, Working at the Car Wash Blues, Roller Derby Queen. This is kind of sentimental here, and I will reveal this to people. So I do have a cat now named Razor, but as Robert knows, I had a cat named Dusty before. He passed away.
Dusty was a legend, man.
Dusty was a legend. He passed away in May of this year. And so when he died, a song was playing in my head, a Jim Croce song called Tomorrow's Gonna Be a Brighter Day. And so I played that song over and over and over again. So that was like one of my top 5 songs, I think, this year too, was that. So Jim Croce, number 2. Number 3, Third Eye Blind.
And I mentioned this to you, and you told me that privately. I said, I'm surprised they don't sneak into mine with how much I listened to the '98 album. Because
Yes. Uh,
Jumper, Graduate.
Burning Man is on that. What else is there? I Want You.
How's it gonna be?
How's it gonna be?
And of course, Semi-Charmed Life, which I think is legitimately one of the greatest songs ever.
That's a really great. I listened to that album a lot in Philly. Like when I first moved to Philly, I was playing that album left and right. Um, and their kind of modern stuff is pretty good too. Now he might be a little bit of a head case, Stephen Jenkins. A little bit
Really?
of a head case. That's what I'm gathering. The band members have left several times. He's got new band members. Maybe they just got tapped out and we're just done
You
with
think
it.
it's like a Billy Corgan situation where it's all him or it's nothing kind of thing?
Maybe that's it. I don't know, but like,
Because Billy's the only original member left of the Pumpkins,
yes,
and like
that's
I
true too.
wonder.
And so maybe that's it though. Um, but the newer albums that he came out with, the one in I want to say it was like 2015 or something. Pretty darn good album. So yeah, I listened to a lot of them, especially near the end of the year here. Number 5, or was that? I guess
Number
number
four.
4. Number 4. Number 4. This I believe was the Killers here. No, Steely Dan. Obviously, big band. Always listen to
You're a
Steely Dan.
yacht rock guy, right? You're
Yacht rock,
Hall
big
and
yacht
Oates.
rock. Hall and Oates, Michael McDonald, Doobie Brothers, Christopher Cross, Boss Skaggs.
Dom,
Big
we're gonna have to
yacht
do a
rock band.
concert. We really are. It's gonna be a
Yes,
good time.
big yacht
Uh,
rock man. Absolutely.
at
Steely
number
Dan's
5,
always
you
good.
said it's the Killer.
Number 5 is the
Killers.
Killers. Killers. Mhm.
Favorite Killer song.
Ooh, that's tough. Oh, um, what is it? Sam's Town, off of Sam's Town.
I really like The Man. I think that's
Man's a
it's a
good one.
fun song.
Mm-hmm.
Just it really gets you hyped. And they're really good. They're a faux British band because like everybody thinks
Yes, they're
they're
from
British, but they're
Vegas.
really not. Yeah, like they're
Mm-hmm.
really not. I like your top 5. It's a lot more respectable than mine. Which even though mine is very honest, it's hey, listen, it's sandwich wrestling, and then it's Foo Fighters, Dance Gavin Dance, and Red Hot Chili Peppers. But
Okay,
it's clearly
Sage asked the
embarrassing.
question here. Who were you guys surprised not to see in your Spotify Wrapped?
Oh, I'm not surprised to see in my Spotify Wrapped. I don't know if any of the additions were surprising because as embarrassing as my music taste is, I know what my music taste is. But I will say, I thought that Surface Pressure, the song from the Disney movie Encanto, I thought that was going to be a lot higher because
Oh,
at the start of the year, I was super big into that movie. I think the whole world was, and I listened to that song a lot. It did not make it very high at all. I think it was like number 50.
wasn't Bruno the
So
big one though in there?
yeah, we don't talk about Bruno. It's good, but it's not as much of a legitimately good song as Surface Pressure. But like my Spotify Wrapped is all over the place because it's got 2 ska songs at the top. Grease by Frankie Valli's on there.
Oh,
Like
really?
yeah, I, big
Like
into
Grease
the
is the
music.
word, but he sings it.
Grease is the word. Yeah,
But that's Frankie Valley singing.
yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, now you know. It's written by one of the Bee Gees, but
Did not know that either.
it is Frankie Valli tune.
Wow. What made me think it might have been John Travolta?
Well, because he's the star of the
Yeah,
movie.
but I don't think he can sing a lick now that I think about it.
He's singing Grease Lightning, and he can sing.
Listen, I'm with Sage here. I think Encanto's a little bit overrated.
So I advise both of you to rewatch that movie.
I don't know. Talking a living house is kind of that's not much of a creative move. I
The
think.
deal, it wasn't the house is living; it's the generational trauma that most Hispanic families
Listen, Grandma
deal
kind
with.
of a bitch too.
Kind of, which is the only thing that I will say I didn't like about Encanto is that she just sort of gets off the hook. She just goes, "Oh, you're right. I've been too hard on my kids. All's
Listen,
well that
Grandma,
ends well."
you definitely scarred a lot of your kids.
Yeah,
They
definitely
need
scarred
a
lot
bit
of
of
the kids.
therapy. And
Generational trauma was the villain of that movie,
right,
and I think
the
theoretically
ultimate Disney villain.
the villain might have persisted. Honest to God, like
Right. So listen, I'm just kind of a straight up. I want for Disney movies, I don't want the 3D. I don't want, unless it's a
Yeah,
Pixar, I'd make that exception. But I want 2D, fucking make it look like Aladdin from '94 and come up with something new. I want a Don Quixote Disney movie.
I agree with you. I much prefer 2D animation,
Right.
and I
It's
wish we were still in that era.
seems a little like to tell the kids that no, they need 3D. They're into the 3D now. I think that's just the parents helicopter parenting right there.
Yeah. Well, no, I think 2D animation is the way to go. I think it always will be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I love basically we've hit on all of my loves here. Music, animation, wrestling, and dicks.
Dicks, our favorite dicks. We had a lot of good. There was some good dicks there. Let's be honest here. All right. Well, I guess for mine, Sage, what artist would I thought have been on my list that wasn't? Maybe Queens of the Stone Age.
Real, I love Queens of the Stone.
I listen to the Villains album a lot. Like, try to do that a lot during Halloween because it just gives off those vibes. So maybe them. Gaslight Anthem's another one I'm really into. So maybe one of those two. Usually, D. Martin's always a big one for me, so he can kind of be somewhere in the mix a lot of the times too. So those are probably mine. All right, Robert, it is time. Now I did this. So back in the day, this was even before I was like did wrestling stuff, anything like that. Or in Facebook back in the day, they'd have a little thing where you'd put a text box underneath your profile picture. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
So like you could write. You only had so many characters that you could write on there. But I would do a dude of the week, and it would just be any person of the week. Always, usually a celebrity, whether it's an athlete, an actor. What inspired me for that week? What person was my dude of the week? And then I turned it into a blog, and I did that for a while, and then I just pushed it.
That's interesting. You're kind of ripping my gimmick here, brother.
Oh, did I? Oh, dude, Felice, I get it. Yeah,
dude of the week. You're kind of ripping my gimmick here.
Well, I will pass the torch to you now. You are the dude now of wrestling.
Apparently I am. That's become a thing. I think people like legit think I am the dude of wrestling, which is I'm more than happy with that take. I will gladly be the dude of wrestling.
Well, let's go here then. Who is your dude of the week in wrestling? Could be a female too. Doesn't matter. It's just
my dude of the week.
Yes.
In wrestling. All right. So my dude of the week in wrestling, because he's had just a great year and is the saving grace of WWE television, is Sami Zayn. I think Sami Zayn has been a blast to watch this year. He's so much fun. He's getting everything he deserves and more. That's my dude of the week. Who's your dude of the week?
Well, we're going to talk about Sami Zayn more next week, I think. Because there's a lot to talk about with Sami, I think.
I agree.
Sammy's a great choice. He could be the dude of the week every week of this year, I would think, right?
Honestly, he really could. He had the great match with Johnny Knoxville. He's turned this bloodline story into gold.
Something else completely like off. They changed things because of him, how popular he is. He's great. One of the bright spots in wrestling, no doubt, for 2022. And it's going to be beyond as well. Okay, my dude of the week. I got to do it. Like, shameless plugging here. But today, I broke the news that Hacksaw Jim Duggan took a man down that broke into his home and held him at gunpoint until the cops arrived. Broke into his home. Man is 68.
Man at 68, he's defeated cancer like 3 times.
3 times. He took this dude down, pulled out a .44 caliber and held it to the guy until
that is
out.
Some old school territory toughness. I love that.
Don't fuck with Jim Duggan.
You don't fuck with Jim Duggan.
Don't fuck with Jim Duggan. You could read it on Wrestling Inc. Right now if you want.
I'm proud of you for breaking that story. I want to know how the hell you found out that Jim Duggan held him at gunpoint.
Can't disclose my sources, okay?
I do. Were you the man he held at gunpoint? Did you run away?
Thank God I wasn't, because this man also could be a good segue here. Could also be the degenerate of the week. Robert, who falls into your pit of degeneracy this week here in wrestling?
The degenerate of the week for
Degenerate
me.
of the week.
You know what? I'm gonna keep it simple. We just talked about him earlier. I gotta go with Vince McMahon.
Okay.
New allegations. He wants to come back. He's not really feeling the advice he got from people close around him. That's my degenerate of the week.
All right, mine is Mandy Rose's boyfriend or husband, fiance, whatever you want to call it. I'm calling Tino Sabatelli. Guy, I just heard bad things. Seems like an idiot. Made a good choice probably with Mandy.
Okay.
But I don't like the guy.
Oh, okay.
Seems like a bit of a rat.
Old Sabby Pascatelli. We gotta have to.
I gave him the
figure
benefit of the doubt with the Italian last name. Tino Martinez was my favorite baseball player as a kid. Can't give a sorry, man. No, you degenerate of the week for me.
I don't know Sabby from a hole in the wall.
I don't think a lot of people do because he's not on television anymore.
Okay. Okay. Dom coming with the fire. Wow.
So there you go. Robert, I think this is a good first episode.
You know what? I enjoyed shooting the stuff with you so much. Dom, we're gonna have to do this again every single week.
I like it.
Because I like this idea.
Yeah, just lay back. Listen, we don't gotta cover the big news. We can talk about it if we want.
Do that enough.
Do that enough. You hear it all enough. We'll talk about wrestling. Absolutely. We talked about wrestling video games for 22 minutes here to start the whole thing off. Sage, thanks for being our lone guest on here. Come back next week. We'll be here again. We'll hope to get more people in too.
Yes, we will definitely get more people in.
Typically,
we gotta get the Facebook people in because apparently, if we're not on Facebook, James Espanto Fernando doesn't know that we exist.
Nesha is like
Nesha Kirsch is just like, I don't think that they're doing anything because it's not on Facebook.
We left a lot of people out. Steven Chambers was another one. We got to get the gang back together, and we welcome Sage to the gang too. So everybody, hey, you know what, Robert? Let's do this next week, okay?
Let's do it next week. And Dom, we're going to do it again the week after that. Because you know what? I like you. You like me. We're two guys. We got some jobs. And even if we
we'll do the favors for one another. How's that sound?
I think we'll do the favors for one another every single week. Because remember, you can tip me. You just got to pay me.
That's right. Oh, I love it. What an ending. What an ending line. All right, Sage. And everybody that listens later on. Hopefully you listen later on, people. I mean, if not, we're doing something wrong. But we'll see you next week here on WrestleZone, the Job Guys.
Hey.